Schefter reports the Seahawks plan to bring Colin Kaepernick in for a workout, but the team officials postponed the trip after Cap would not say if he would stop kneeling during the national anthem next season. NFL Network reported a slightly different version, saying the Seahawks asked Kaepernick about his plans for next season, including how he'll handle the anthem, and they'll meet at a later date when Kaepernick has a firm plan in place. Right now, Russell Wilson is the only quarterback on the Seahawks roster, but Adam Schefter reported they signed Stephen Morris this morning. Morris has never thrown a pass in the NFL. Shannon, what happens next for Kaepernick?
Skip, Cap is at a crossroads, not only with his career, but where he wants to take this protest. He's going to have to make a decision. If kneeling for the anthem, standing for the anthem is a non-starter, he needs to let these teams know this is a non-starter for me.
Yep.
And then move on to another phase of his life. Because it appears to me, Skip, this seems to be a non-starter for a lot of teams. Because they ask him the question, and he can't give them a definitive answer, and they're willing to move on. Okay, we'll circle back when you have a more definitive answer for us. I would assume after a year and a half, almost 2 years, he would know at this juncture now, either I'm going to continue to kneel or I'm going to stand and take the protest in a different direction.
Yep.
That's what I would have thought. But it seems to me, and I don't have a problem with this, Skip, if he wants to stand by his conviction and says, I'm going to continue to kneel and my NFL career is over, I'm going to applaud him and says, man, that was a man of his conviction. A lot of people gave it lip service, but he really meant it. He stood on his principle that was well within his right. It was peaceful, and he was bringing attention to a lot of people that did not have attention. You give him kudos, but I don't believe at this point he can have both. And it's a shame that he can't, because he's not harming anyone. But these teams, the NFL seems to say, Cap, you can do one or the other on our clock. And if you want to play football, you can still protest, but that form of protest, we don't want it. And so that's the question that he's going to have to ask himself, Skip. That's it. I'm sorry. Those are the only two conclusions that you can come to.
Which is why my bottom line to this is Colin Kaepernick has a much better chance of winning his collusion case than he has of making or being signed by an NFL team. I just don't think it's going to happen. I just think he's not going to back off his stance, his very proud stance, and I don't expect him to. I'm not sure if Eric Reed is. He said he would, but then he wouldn't answer the Bengals question about exactly what he planned to do.
It seems to me that they wanted to sign him, and Marvin Lewis was giving him an opportunity to, let me ask you again, let me rephrase it. And he put basically to the approach, and I'm paraphrasing, I have nothing to add what I said previously. So,
So, big picture, this starting to feel like this high-stakes game of chicken that they're playing over the collusion suit. That's the backdrop to this whole dance that they're doing. So the Seahawks call Colin and say, hey, we're interested in signing you, just to show somebody's interested in signing Colin Kaepernick. But then we get two different versions of what transpires from there on as they begin to communicate back and forth about, you said what? You said what? And I'm still not sure what happened because I'm having to trust one side's version versus the other side's version.
And somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Probably. Maybe somewhere over on the far left side is the truth, right? But in this case, it becomes comical to me that we saw the Ravens, just before the collusion hearing started, go sign a Robert Griffin III who had been out of football for a whole year. And the last I saw of Robert, he had posted this foolish video of him making jump shots against, I think it was 9 older white guys at the YMCA or somewhere, right? It looked like it.
He was playing one of them teams that the Ball brothers played against.
Right. I think he was. That's about right. I would agree. So they did that because we went out and got a black quarterback, Robert Griffin. So, you know, that makes it okay that you didn't sign Colin Kaepernick?
Skip, is it a situation that if Colin Kaepernick were to say, okay, I will stand for the anthem because I want to play. Does he think this will be viewed as selling out?
Maybe.
That he's selling out for the cause because he's going back on his conviction. But if you continue your protest and to bring attention to this plight in a different form, but still get your message out, I don't really see, because at some point in time, Skip, in order to, look, you can draw up a play, but at some point in time, you got to execute the play. At some point in time, you got to advance the ball, Cap, and deal those in that movement. What is the next step? How do we advance the ball? How do we get past the kneeling or whatever that stage was that you were doing? How do we get to the next stage? How do we get legislation passed? Well, it'll be a lot easier, trust me. And you heard Mr. Blank, Arthur Blank, speak about it. He says it's not just monetarily. They want our connections, because that's how they get those big stadiums. They get those built, Skip, because how? They talk to those politicians, and they get the money, they get on the referendum, and they get it voted through. So that's how that works. So they got contacts that you can't get. So I would like to see him get into the league, try to say, okay, NFL, this is what I need. This is what I would like to see happen.
Yeah, I would too.
Help us advance this, because we know you got legs. You tall. You got long tentacles, way longer than what we got.
Yep. So, to me, we have a majority of white billionaire NFL owners who have decided that the protest led by Colin Kaepernick was bad for business last year because it was bad for ratings and bad for advertisers.
Correct.
I'm still not sure that was the truth of what happened last year, because as we spoke earlier in the show, I can't even begin to count all these superstar injuries that Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson, help me out. Odell. I can just go on. You don't think those hurt ratings over time, that eroded the ratings of the year?
Does the NFL know trees do not grow to the sky? Eventually, the ratings are going to have to level off, Skip.
Yeah.
They don't just keep going up year after year after year. I mean, what, are you supposed to have like 50 years of ratings increase? At some point in time, Skip, they're going to level off, and they're going to stay here for a while, and then they may dip, and then they'll pick back up. But the NFL is under this impression, because we're the NFL, we just keep rising. That's unrealistic, because even the greatest TV shows in MASH, Skip, what? It ended.
Yeah.
Dallas, even the best TV, Gunsmoke, they have shelf life. They don't keep, the ratings don't keep going
There's
up.
only so many people available.
Yes.
You're not going to get every single eyeball. But to Skip's point, there are many factors in if the ratings dipped or did not dip, and we know.
Or if that was a factor.
Right. So
look, bottom line from my seat that I sit in, Colin Kaepernick had lasting, meaningful national impact on a social justice cause that was critical to the growth of our nation. And I will always remember that. I don't think he will go down in history as that guy.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid he paid a big price for it, as we've seen in history.
The protest meant to bring attention to that, and that's what it did. So to Shannon's point, what is the next step that has to progress?
Ali said, I'm not going to the draft. When they didn't say, he didn't say, okay, now they said, well, against his religion, it's against his religion, he doesn't have to go. He started back fighting again.
Right.
So he didn't like, oh, no, since y'all didn't want me to do it this time, nope. So now, Cap.
What's the next step? Magic Johnson says this will be the biggest summer of Lonzo's life. Is he right? We'll discuss that next.